half of Kathy, 20 pounds are gone, right?
I wasn't going to say anything, but since you noticed.
Yes,
Yeah.
looking good.
I found it.
Right? You found it? We like to keep things balanced around here. So yeah, this is our 7th year, and as I get older and older and older, I lose more and more of a grasp on reality. And I start slipping further and further and further into insanity. And my daughter Billy, who's here, told me the other day that when I finally lose my mind completely, that the good news is no one will actually notice. Because I already look fucking crazy. And I thought, that's funny, and so we laughed about that one. So, but the truth is, through the years, I have lost the need to please. You know, I've traded in my fear for what I thought you thought of me to what I felt was true for me. And I began to trust my feelings more and more and more, not trust my thoughts. Because really, these days, I don't believe anything I think, right? This neighborhood is very shifty. It's a bad neighborhood. And I change my mind on the drop of a dime, you know? But my heart is to be trusted. As crazy as that sounds, my heart is steady and solid and sincere, and my heart stays true, and my heart has been in love with you since day one. And that's the truth. I'm sure that I have probably made this confession to each and every single one of you already because I have no filter. So, but tonight I am going to sing a song for you, which is probably the bravest thing that I'll do on stage. Who the fuck is going to sing a song after Kathy Richardson, right? Only someone who's lost their fucking mind and is looking for trouble. So bear with me. And when I say bear with me, I think that would be a great new slogan for VoiceBox because you really have bared with me. You have bared your stories and your expressions and your truth and your wisdom, and you've been so very brave and witty and generous and kind. And most of you, a lot of you, have actually found your voice at VoiceBox. So if you have told a story at VoiceBox, please stand up. Nice. Lynn, you told a story. It was a good one, though. 3-second stories count. So we have had 84 shows. That's a lot of stories. And we had a couple of charity shows, so even more. That's hundreds of stories, but actually it's probably more like thousands of stories because after you hear a few stories on stage, you go home and you do what we all do. You drive home and you tell more stories about the stories that you heard and you relate to your stories. And so those stories birth more stories. So this is my story. I pitched this show to Kathy Richardson in 2011. And at the time it was called Toast and Jam, which was so clever. And I was like, Kathy, you're gonna jam, and we're gonna make toasts. That was it. Except the problem was there was a couple of wedding singers in Chicago who were already using my very clever name, Toast and Jam. Maybe I was too clever. So Megan Wells suggested that we call it VoiceBox, and so we went with it. And the show actually didn't kick off until 2013, so that's 2 years of having a concept and then moving it into form. So if you're running around with an idea of your own, just know, like, it's still baking maybe. Don't give up on it. So we started off at Madison Street Theater, and then the next month we moved here, and Kathy brought it here to Fitzgerald's. And Kathy and I met online, like, what do you call these people? Yeah, like most do. We met online. She was looking for a life coach, and she liked that I was in showbiz. And she had a wife, and she was starting a family. And she shared her music with me. And she came in seeking clarity, and I was actually the one who was more lost than her. Because it was the truth. I had just been amputated from my creative tribe back in California. I was here. I didn't know anyone. And that day that God put us together, kissed us both on the lips. And I was thirsty for something real and something raw and something worthy. And I felt like at the time, sincerely, I felt like I was suffocating in a sea of niceness. You know? I mean, I heard before I moved to the Midwest that you guys were nice, but man, I had no idea how far you fools would take that. You were very, very nice. And I hated you for it. And so when I went to Kathy's show for the first time and I saw this dynamic diva claim the stage with more moxie and mania than I thought was capable to hold in a human body, and she held the audience hostage in this vice that was not nice. It was audacious. And it crushed me like a grape and ignited within me a memory of possibility. And I remember thinking, fuck, she does not play nice. I want to play with her. And so I pitched her voice box. And now, I suppose that being nice is good for some things. I don't want to badmouth nice all the time. But for me, nice is like kryptonite. You know, nice is like my nemesis. Because nice kills a good story every time. so when I got to voice box and I thought you were all really nice, voice box healed my perception of you. Yeah. You really had me believing that you were just really nice people, and then slowly you crept on stage with these terrible, terrible confessions. Horrible things. Very questionable events were taking place that I didn't know about. And in light of your confessions, I felt so much better that you were in fact terrible people, just like me. And your confessions of ignorance and corruption was a way that you found your voice, and it turned out that you made some very bad choices. and then we became friends, and then we started doing bad things together. And one of my favorite bad things to do, which isn't really even that bad because it's sad how not bad my bad thing is, but eating donuts after the show is my after show ritual. You know who likes to eat donuts with me. But no, there were other bad things to do. Together we witnessed, some really great things together. Together we witnessed some really bad things. I remember the election that we all went through together when half the room was cheering and half the room was fearing. And it was like, wow. But we survived still, kind of. We're in the midst of it. And then there was that show in June when our theme was Pride. And right before it, somebody shot up Orlando, yeah. And we sat in silence. And we survived that. And then some of us got sick and got better. And some of us got sick and didn't get better. And we survived that. And I still think the most disturbing thing that we lived through was when that guy got on stage in the red Speedo and he pulled that rolled up sock out of his cock. Like, it'll be many lifetimes before I wash that from my eyeballs. Do you remember that? Yeah. So, yeah, that was a thrill. So here is my love song for you. And there's one place in my love song that when I point to you, I need you to say, coronavirus. Just play along with me, okay? I don't need to go to hell by myself. And my mother once told me that if you sing something that's really bad, but you sing it really nicely, that it has a way of healing it. So my mom was fucking crazy too, no wonder. But maybe she was right. So, here's my song. You're not nice, and I'm so glad. You're not being nice is not so bad. And now I know you're like me, a terrible person in the highest degree. We are mischievous, mixed up and frivolous, haunted and haggard and proud of our wickedness. You are incredulous, awkward, inelegant, and I take the prize for artificial intelligence. I've never been very bright. Dreadful and shameful like a Speedo too tight, oh, baby, we're so much better than nice. You're bad and bawdy, I'm bossy and bold. We should be locked up for the stories we've told. Ruthless and raunchy, like a bad porno site. Not that I would know about that. Baby, we're better than nice. In safe little worlds of political correctness, I find our candor kind of infectious. I don't mean to brag, but I am slightly biased. So let's spread the news like the coronavirus. Nice. I'm jealous and jagged. You're jaded as fuck. We're graceless and tarnished and other bad stuff. Wrinkled and riddled and pickled and plaid, greedy and gaudy and terribly bad. Imagine my joy when I came to see behind your facade you were fucked up like me. Judgy and crabby and filled with pure spite. Oh, baby, we're better than nice. Thank you for bringing your truth to the light. Seeing your shitstorm has brought me delight. I'm so glad you're real, although rude and uptight. Every word that you've written, I'd never rewrite. You're honest and brave and beautifully bright, and you've given me some of the happiest nights. It's better, so much better than nice. My terribly awful, embarrassing, happiest nights. All right, so next up is